Hi guys, today I will show you how to create your first iOS application using Xcode 6 Beta 3 and Apple's new programming language called Swift. In this tutorial we will just add a couple of buttons and I will show you how to interact with them. So let's start. Open your Xcode and click Create a new Xcode project. On the next screen, please select Single View Application and click Next. On this screen you can specify your project name. Let's call it UI button. As language you should select Swift, and as device only iPhone. We will not build universal or iPad application in this tutorial. Click Next. In this screen choose a folder where your project will be created. In my case it's tutorials. Click Create. And you are done. Your first iOS application is ready and you can run it clicking this button build and then run the current scheme. And as you can see, you have only a white blank screen. So let's improve it. Let's add some buttons. Please stop your application and go to main storyboard. Storyboard is a place where your interface builder's view controllers are stored. In this tutorial we have only one view controller and let's add a button to it. In your object library you should search for UI button and drag it to your view controller. Let's rename it. You can do it by double clicking or by going to Attributes Inspector. Okay, guys, let's call it our first button. And as you can see, all the text is not fitting our button, so let's resize it a little. And after it, center. But our button will not stay centered on iPhone with different resolutions and iPads with different resolutions. So to keep our button centered, we have to use some constraints. Just select your button and click this Align Constraints menu. As you can see, you can select horizontal center in container and vertical center in container, and it will center our button on all screens our application will run on. Yeah. Sorry for my English. Okay, and Xcode said that some constraints are missing. Our button is centered, but it's not enough. So let's add width and height constraints. Now everything looks pretty good. Let's save it and run it by using Command and R. And as you can see, we have our button. How cool is that, huh, guys? And it's clickable, but nothing happens. Okay, let's fix it. Stop your application and let's hide our side panels and click this tuxedo. It's called Assistant Editor. Yes. Okay, as you can see, to the left we have our view controller in our interface builder, and to the right from it we have our class called view controller, and they are the same. But the problem is that we have to somehow connect our button and our code. To do that, you can just control click and drag from your button to your code and you can insert some stuff in here. Okay, as you can see in this menu you can insert outlet, action, or outlet collection. Actually, the most in most cases you will use only outlet and action. Outlet is just a reference in your code to your user interface elements in your storyboards. So let's add outlet to our button so we can change it in the future in our code. Okay, let's call it first button. You can select a type, its UI button as you can see, and storage strong or weak. And it's a little bit tricky at the start, but just trust me and select weak. Okay, let's connect. And as you can see, we have our constraint. If you hold your mouse over this circle, it will show you which UI element this constraint represents in your code. Okay, but our outlet cannot handle any kind of user interactions with our button, and to handle button pressing, tapping, or whatever you call it, we have to add an action. Let's control click and drag and add an action. Let's call it first button pressed. Oops, sorry. As type, let's say it's UI button. Event for our button tapped or button pressed is touch up inside down. You can read in Apple's documentation what all the other stuff means, but in our case it's touch up inside. And we can set some arguments. For example, we can send nothing, we can send only sender, in this case it's our button, and we can send our sender, button, and event. In our case it's touch up inside. So we are good with only sender in our case. Okay, let's connect it. As you can see, we have something called a method. It's actually a function in Swift language, and also it's an IB action. IB action means that this function, first button pressed with sender UI button, have something in our storyboard, and you can hover your mouse over this circle near IB action and you can see which UI element your button is connected in your interface builder. Let's add some code that will show us that button is actually pressed and everything is working. Let's type here, guys, print ln and something like first button pressed. Let's save it. Let's close our Tuxedo Man. Open your left bar and let's go to Swift. Oh, let's save our main storyboard. Go to Swift and run our application. And tap. Yeah, and you can see in console that your first button is pressed. Sorry, let's press it one more time. And one more time. As you can see, your button is pressed and you can see a message that you sent into a console. And there are two major methods in Swift that will put some stuff into your console. It's called println and also it's only print. Let's copy. And I will show you the difference between print and println. So let's type something here like some stuff, I don't know. Okay, save it. And let's run once again. Let's stop our previous application and press first button. And as you can see, nothing different. Your println printed first button pressed and your print printed some stuff. But if we click one more time, our first button pressed will be printed just after some stuff of the previous message. And the difference between println and print is that println is printing a message and goes to the next line. As we can see here, first button pressed. And we go to the next line, where we print some stuff. And print some stuff is not println, and it's not moving the cursor to the next string, to the next line. So your next button tab just adds first button pressed as a appendix to your previous message. So it's the difference in println and print. Okay, let's go back to our buttons. We can add buttons not only in user interface builder. In Xcode we can do it also programmatically. To do that, just go to your viewDidLoad method, and after super.viewDidLoad, let's create our second button. Sorry, before adding our second button, we want it to be also a global variable. So after our IB outlet for first button, we can create something like this. Variable called second button. It's equals UI button. And let's say it's button with type. There is a couple of them. I mean types. UI button type dot system. It's the basic type of UI button, and we should say that this variable is kind of UI button. Okay, and now in our super viewDidLoad we can initialize our second button. Actually, it's already initialized in our previous method, but we have to set some frame to the button. Okay, let's do it. Second button dot frame equals cdirect make. It's a method that creates a rectangle. It has 4 properties. It's x coordinate, let's say it's 100. Y coordinate, it's also 100. Let's say width is 200, I don't know, and height, let's call it 40. But remember guys, Apple recommends some stuff that could be tapped to be at least 40 points in each dimension. So 40 is not really that good, it should be 44 and more. But we are working with our mouse in simulator, so whatever. Okay, and let's set some background color to our button. Second button color, background color equals UI color, and let's say it's I feel like purple. Okay, it will be purple. Also, we can add some title to our button, so we could know that this is our button. Second button dot set title. And let's say it's second button. For state, and this is a state of button. Actually, guys, button have 4 states. Type UI control state. If you command click, you will go to documentation. Oh, actually it's more than 4. Okay, button could be normal, highlighted, disabled, selected, application, and reserved. I guess we will use only normal, highlighted, disabled, and selected. These guys are for application use and for internal framework use. Probably Apple just didn't hide it. So I guess it will be removed in the future. Okay, UI control state that normal. Guys, you should know that for each of 4 button states you can select different titles. So if your button is highlighted, it could say like second button highlighted or whatever, and for selected it could be different. So you can probably experiment with this in your code. It's actually pretty fun to see how software is working. Okay, and our previous button have some IB action, and it triggers some printing into our console. And also we want that our button created in the code behave the same way. So we have to create some kind of this IB action in our code. But as it's not connected to our interface builder, it will be only a function. So let's type func. Let's call it second button pressed. And let's set sender. It should be UI button. Oops. Don't forget about these braces. And what will we do here? Let's just print some stuff. Println second button pressed. As you can see, we have our function, second button pressed, and we have our second button, but we don't have any kind of connection between them. Let's add something called target. Second button, add target. Our target will be self. Self means that it is this actual instance of your UI controller class. Yeah, it's an object. Action, let's say it's, let's copy it. Second button pressed. For control events, UI control events dot touch up inside. And one thing that we should do before our button will appear on the screen, we should add it as subview of our main view in view controller. And main view in each view controller is called like view. It's a main view, and dot add subview. And our subview is second button. How easy is that, huh? Okay. And let's save it and run it. Stop previous application. And as you can see, we have our ugly second button. and if we tap on it, press on it, second button pressed is printed as it says in our second button pressed function. Looks like everything is working. And first button is working and second button. How cool is that, huh? Let's stop it, and couple more things for you to experiment. You can actually change a lot of stuff of your buttons in your buttons in interface builder, like in button. So go through all this stuff you can see here. You can change all of them and see how it applies to your application and behavior. So let's do some weird stuff. In some kinds of applications, when something happens, you want to hide the button or disable it. We can do it pretty easily in our code. Let's remove this, print some stuff, and says if we tap on first button, as you can see we are in our first button pressed method, let's hide our second button. Yeah, so first, oh sorry, if we want to hide our second button we should type second button and set enabled to not enabled, hidden to true. Let's run it. And as you can see, if we press our first button, the second button should disappear. Ha! How cool is that? And we don't have our ugly button anymore. So let's do some checks. If our button is hidden, I mean second button, we should show it, and if our second button is not hidden, we should hide it. If second button hidden, then let's show it. So second button hidden, false. And if it's not hidden, let's hide it. Second button dot hidden equals true. Let's run it. Command R. And if we tap once, it's hidden. And if we tap second time, it's shown. What else? We can pretty easily change the frame of our buttons. You can call it like resize it or move it on the screen. Let's do that. Let's do it in our second button pressed. Okay, if our second button is pressed, let's change its height. Okay, type second button, height, oh sorry, frame. Each UI element has a frame. Frame has such parameters like height, width, x and y. Let's say height, and it equals, let's type 60. Sorry. And as we can see, it's our first error, and it says that we cannot assign the result of this expression. And problem is that height, oh, how bad is that, huh? Actually, height is CG float type, and 60 is just regular int. So to fix it, we have to convert it, and in Swift it's pretty easily done. It's called cgfloat, and grab it into brackets. Save it. Let's run our application. Oh no. So it looks like it's not that easy. Okay. Oh, sorry guys. Frame doesn't have a height. Frame has parameters like size, and size has height and width, and also it has origin. Second button dot frame dot origin, and as you can see it has two parameters, x and y. Let's also change our x coordinate. Let's say it's 20. Save it, run it. As you can see, it also works, and if we tap on our second button, it will be moved instantly, and height is changed. Okay guys, probably you have some better applications to stuff you learned in this tutorial. Also, I will show you in the next tutorials how to change some stuff in your UI, not instantly, but with pretty smooth animations, like you can see in many cool iOS applications. And let's build, let's code, let's become better and build awesome stuff. So bye bye guys.